that he got a hat trick in, and I was like, all right, that's it. I'm picking him up. Go and look. 30 minutes beforehand, you had already picked him up.
Little did you know I was watching the same games as you were, and I pulled the fucking trigger.
I got a call and get center ice tomorrow. They wouldn't give it to me if it wasn't October or whatever fucking reason. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. So I got to do that tomorrow. Fuck.
I actually have to do the same.
I got to drop off rent tomorrow too.
Well,
Supposed to drop off rent today, but I did not.
I already paid that like a while ago. I always pay a month ahead of time.
Yeah, that's smart. All right. Episode 39.
Yes. Don't fuck up.
I'm not going to fuck up.
Dude, don't fuck up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 39 of Five Hole Fantasy Hockey Radio. I'm your host, TJ Branson, and with me is Zach Vogel.
Hey.
So it is October 1st. We're only 3 days away from the regular season, and most of you guys are already into season form. You guys might have your draft tomorrow like we do in our five-hole category league for Yahoo, yeah. And I might already still have yet to draft. So we're going to hop right into kind of like our regular template for the season, go over injuries, returns, some line combinations that might have changed preseason. We'll get a little bit into you got the guys that have just been doing lights out and the guys that have been doing pretty shittily. And then you got your weekly schedule, the goalies, the back-to-backs, who's got the easy weeks, who's got the hard weeks, who are you going to stream? And maybe we'll talk a little bit about our drafts over the past week. I think I had like, I don't know, 4 or 5 drafts. It's been fucking stupid. But yeah, we'll talk about some of the people that might have been steals late in the drafts, or some of the guys we're eyeballing, our watch lists, stuff like that. So, how are you feeling tonight, Zach?
Feeling good, man.
It was good to go.
Long day at work today, but I'm here. I'm more awake than I thought I was going to
be. Yes, it is 11 p.m. On October 1st. So by the time this gets out, it will be Tuesday. So, all right, let's jump into some of the bigger injuries that have been that have come out this preseason. First off, you got the guy I traded for, and then the guy I traded to get.
Yeah, a big one for you.
Yeah, it's rough. So Seth Jones.
Big one for you.
I'm not happy about it.
I know you aren't happy about it, which is why I was happy about it. Because I tried to trade you for Seth Jones the day before.
Yep. Wasn't having it.
And you wouldn't do it. You're being a bitch about it. And then MCL sprain later. I said, hey, that's what you got for not trading me.
Well, I mean, we are 1 week into a 4 to 6 weeks timeline. Zach Werenski is going to move up to that first power play unit and just get all of my Seth Jones's points for the first, 10 games or so. And a guy by the name of Marcus Nudavara, which
he's going to be popping up on that second PP.
Yeah. So I don't know how excited I am about Marcus Nudavara, but obviously this is a great thing for Werenski. And the guy I actually traded to get Seth Jones, Torey Krug. He left the ice late in the first period against the Flyers last Saturday, and he did not return. He was spotted in a walking boot. And then since then, we found out that he injured his ankle. It's unrelated to the fracture that he sustained in last year's playoffs, but he's looking at a 3-week minimum here. So that's to say that he's going to be reevaluated in 3 weeks, not like 3-week timeline.
That's a hard one because I guarantee you for a lot of people on their teams, Torey Krug is your second best defenseman.
Or your first. And if he's your first, you're really hurting. I mean, his shot production is really good. But so you're looking at Charlie McAvoy to be your likely number 1 power play guy. But a guy by the name of, and I'm going to fucking butcher this one, Urho Vakanainen. Yep. He actually stepped in the game that Krug went down. And he was playing with Marchand, Bergeron, Pastrnak, all those guys, and Ryan Donato, who apparently is going to be on that top power play unit. So if he does get any power play time, whether it be with the first unit or the second unit, Vekanainen, that's what I'm going to call him. Vekanainen could be somebody that should be on your radar.
Or should he now?
I think so.
Okay, I think you should pick him up.
I've got enough D-men on my team.
Then you should drop Brady Shea. Oh, hey, that's right. You already did that.
I did that. All right, you want to take the next one?
Next up, we got Corey Perry for all you Ducks fans out there. He's going to be sidelined for 5+ months following the surgery repair to both the MCL and meniscus. It's a top 6 right winger. Actually, let me redo that. Let me read this quick. So that top 6 right wing spot could be in contention for guys like Troy Terry, who has already been practicing up on the second power play unit. But it could also pave the way for others like Silverberg and Kasha to vie for that top 6 spot. I mean, Silverberg is already going to be solidly in there, but Kasha was kind of that fringe player where we didn't really know if he was going to end up on that second line or if he was going to drop down to the third. So I mean, Corey Perry he's hurt again. It's going to hurt for Ducks fans.
So they've been saying that he's been dealing with this for the past few years, so maybe that explains how shitty he's been in the past few years. But if a guy like Troy Terry, screws up for a few games in a row, then that top line right wing spot is open for those other guys. And who knows? Could be Kasha, who's on our waiver wire.
I dropped him.
All right.
I dropped him so that I can pick up somebody that we're going to be talking about later.
Jack Eichel, he stayed out of Friday's preseason game to deal with a minor ailment. It's nothing really serious. But you got Jack Eichel, who averages 64 games played in a year. Maybe this is a little bit of foreboding to start. He's already starting this shit already, but I'm not going to count him out of the preseason opener. It's probably just precautionary. Look for Jack Eichel to start next week. On what fucking day? Where do they start? Buffalo. On Thursday. Wow, they start on Thursday. Okay. All right. Who's up? Alex Tuch. It's your guy.
So next we'll go to Alex Tuch, who I actually drafted. It's not something that looks too serious, but he did leave the game in the second period the other day, and he did not return. There hasn't been any new updates as of yet, but for now, Haula has been up on the second right wing spot, playing with Paul Stastny in the middle and Patches on the outside. So, I mean, right now, Haula's tucking into that spot, and it might dampen the year that I have always said that Alex Tuch was going to have this year, dating back since last year.
Hopefully it's not anything too serious, and he'll be back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, chances are I think he's going to be good to go for the regular season, but only time will tell. So we'll see.
You want to take the next one? It's your boy.
So next up, you're right. It is my boy, Scott Darling. Love this guy. I love him as the worst starting goalie in hockey, as much as you can love something like that. So he recently got a hamstring injury. He recently got a hamstring injury, which kind of sucks for Scott Darling because all reports have been that he's come in this year more flexible than he has been in years past and in much better shape than he has been in years past. And really what it came down to, a lot of people always thought was his conditioning. So the fact that he came in such good shape this year was really promising for the Hurricanes. But with him leaving in the second period on Sunday, Mrazek had to come in relief. And I mean, TJ, what do you think about Mrazek being the starting goalie now? I know you were never big on him and never have been.
So Carolina's always been this kind of like dark horse hipster pick for the fucking playoffs and everything. And I mean, you got Mrazek starting out. Hopefully this is not. Hopefully Scott Darling just got like a Charlie horse and freaked out a little bit too much, and Mrazek's not going to be playing for too long. All right, I'll take Dustin Brown. So Dustin Brown broke his finger, and he is out indefinitely. So Alex Iafallo makes a return to the top line. There's no timeline telling us how long Dustin Brown's going to be out, but I imagine a broken finger. I mean, we've heard reports of some hockey players just playing through it. So hopefully it's just like a 2 to 4 week thing. I don't know. I mean, I can't even say his name right now. Yeah, Alex Iafallo, up your sleeve when it comes to picking people up.
Yeah, I mean, because Dustin Brown had a really damn good year last year, but it was
too
all
good
behind. Yeah, it was all behind. Mainly, what I would like to think is most obviously Anshay Kopitar having a really good year, and Dustin Brown really fed off of that. So, I mean, we'll see what happens this year. Next, we're going to go down to the desert. And another guy that I have, which...
Oh, shit, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, oh, no shit. All these guys on this fucking injury list that we're naming are a lot of my players. And Alex Galchenyuk is another one. He was placed on IR recently with a lower body injury and is looking to miss the first 2 games of the season. Hopefully down the line, this won't be too big of a deal. But right now, Richard Panik is projecting to be on that top line with Derek Stepan and Clayton Keller. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, Dick Panik really hasn't had...
That's good. That's good.
His name is Dick Panik. I don't get what's so funny, TJ. We're talking about Dick Panik here. Okay, so like I said before I was so rudely interrupted, Dick Panik has not had the type of fantasy stature that he has years all the way back when he was playing in Chicago. So, I mean, on top of the fact that he's also gotten into trouble out in Arizona, I mean, let's be honest, it's really what I feel is a prove-it year for him. So maybe this little stint right here in the beginning of the year is going to be good for him and give him a chance to actually show himself before Galchenyuk comes back.
Oh, I can't get over it.
But, I mean, he doesn't want to show too much dick.
All right, I'm trying to get over that Dick Panik thing.
Yeah, you were laughing through my entire thing here, TJ.
Well done, sir. Well done. All right, Mike Green. You're depleting an already shitty Detroit defense. You're removing Mike Green. He's got a infectious virus attacking his liver. The Red Wings are preparing to start the season without him.
You actually have a virus attacking your liver right now.
Yeah, it's brandy and orange soda. Tastes like medicine. There's no timetable for his return. He was placed on IR today. You remove Mike Green from the picture, and there's almost no fantasy relevance to be had on this blue line. But you got a guy who has been sparking a little bit of buzz right now. You got a guy in Dennis Cholowski. He's been practicing on the top power play. You got guys like Trevor Daley out as well, Nicholas Kronwall. So that really opens up this top power play quarterback position. And Cholowski's an interesting case here. He has 6 points in 6 preseason games with Detroit. I think it's 2 goals, 4 assists. He's been practicing with the top power play. And in the WHL last year, he put up 66 points in 69 games. So if he takes this role and he kind of really runs with it, he could throw his hat into the ring for that top power play guy, considering that you don't exactly have a decor worth writing home about. Regardless, he should be on your radar. Just kind of hear his name and just put it into your rotation of guys on your watch list.
Yeah, I mean, definitely watch out these Red Wings. They're going young.
But still, it's a top power play defenseman, and I don't know those types of guys. They got to be in the conversation at the very least.
Can we just call him Cholo?
Denny Cholo, bud.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Has a good ring to it. Denny Cholo.
I'll
Kind of
take it.
sounds like a drink, kind of like limoncello.
Denny Cello. There's an ant on my screen.
Okay, so next up, we're going across the Ben Franklin Bridge into Jersey, going to Jersey with Corey Schneider. So 5 months into his 5 to 6 month timeline for his injury, he's already been ruled out for the season opener, and Kincaid is actually going to be your starter for the 2018 season. How do you feel about that, Jersey? Hopefully, it's all right because honestly, I like Corey Schneider a lot better than Kincaid. But what I will say is Kincaid did actually do a good job coming in every couple of games last year. He did his job as a backup, but Corey Schneider is definitely the number one guy there.
Eventually, he will be. Yeah. Fuck. What was I gonna say? I don't know. I forget. Robbie Fabry. I mean, I'm just gonna like add insult to injury here. Robbie Fabry missed all of the 17-18 season with a knee injury. And I mean, what are you going to do? You got a guy that missed an entire season. He hasn't played since February of 2017. And he just strained his strained his groin. And he just strained his groin. So I feel bad for the guy. He wants to play, but he just can't get off the shelf. St. Louis, I mean, they still have a pretty intimidating lineup, even with Fabry being out. So I don't think that he was one of the guys that were going to crack the top 6. So it doesn't really affect anything. But nonetheless, he is injured. Risto, guy on your team, what do you got on him? Any updates?
Another one on my team, yes. Rasmus Ristolainen. So honestly, it was looking really good for Ristolainen this year. Chances are, I was thinking that he's going to get paired with the other Rasmus, as you like to call them, the Rasmi. So he was looking to be paired with Dahlin on that first defensive unit, and he was also going to have number one power play time. But he did miss practice on Thursday and the preseason game that they had on Friday. He has been, however, practicing on the top line and the top power play unit before that. And it's looking like he's going to be good to go for the beginning of the season. And he's definitely somebody to have on your radar, as he's had, 40-plus point seasons in his past 3 or 4 seasons, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
and actually, I think Dahlin is being drafted like 5 to 10 places just ahead of him. But to be honest with you, I like Risto a lot more than Dahlin.
So do I, just because he is a proven commodity. I know what Ristolainen is, and he already has the respect and what word am I looking for here? Kind of like the continuity,
confidence
with his teammates already. They know who he is. I know who he is. So it's gonna be all out on Dahlin. I mean, we don't know yet.
So it looks like Risto and Scandella are going to pair together. Jake McCabe and Rasmus Dahlin are going to have the second pairing. But as far as power plays go, you got Skinner, Reinhart, Okposo, Risto, and Eichel on that first unit, which, I mean, you could always switch out. I would think that Kyle Okposo is going to be the odd man out there. Maybe switching somebody like Casey Middlestat if he impresses, or go 2D with Rasmus Dahlin. But we'll get into that a little bit later. I gotta pee real bad. I don't know if you want to take Kessler and Ty Joe, but I'm gonna take a piss.
Okay, that's fine. So next up, we're going back to Anaheim, and we're going to talk about Ryan Kessler. So it seems that Ryan Kessler has been injured again, and from what's out there, he's been practicing on the 5th line, but taking minimal contact. Patrick Eaves is not skating, and neither will he be available for opening night, just like Kessler. One thing that is good about Kessler is he did skate with that hip on Sunday, and he seems like he's maybe going to be close to going 50-50 maybe for the beginning of the season, but look for him to come back in a week or two, more likely. As for the last guy that we have up, and that is Tyler Johansson.
Tyler Johnson.
What the hell did I say?
Johansson.
Tyler Johansson.
Ryan Johansson.
I don't know why I said that. Probably because you put
Ryjo and Tyjo.
Tyjo, but I knew exactly who it was, obviously. Okay, so lastly on our list with the injury report is Tyler Johnson, who reportedly has a 50-50 chance to play on opening night, according to John Cooper.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was like pretty... Okay, so Kaylee Chilios reported that John Cooper reported that he has a 50% chance. All right, so she put up on Twitter that John Cooper quoted. I don't know how to describe it.
I'm just going to do that all over. Okay, so the last on our list of the injury report is going to be Tyler Johnson. As per Kaylee Chilios, John Cooper has said that Tyler Johnson is a 50-50 chance to play on opening night. This seems to me very optimistic. I'm hoping that he plays too. And it seems like if he does, he's going to be slotting in that top 6 role where he has been in the past, as long as he's not hurt. So if he does, he'll also be playing on that first power play unit, which is a big fucking deal down in Tampa Bay. I don't know where I dragged off at the end for that.
So Kucherov, he did mention as well. He said that he is a bit more optimistic that Kucherov is going to be good to go for the season opener. You got Johnson still wearing a no contact jersey, and Kucherov today at practice was wearing a regular jersey, so he's likely to start this season. So on that note, we're going to just get back into the people that are coming away, or I don't know how to say that. I mean, Keeping Karlsson's already got Outries kind of trademarked, so I don't want to use that. So,
well, yeah, we can't do that.
So
we can't be stealing somebody else's segment.
So we're just going to jump right back into the guys that are coming back from injury. Kucherov, he left. I got a burp. September 5th game with a lower body injury, but like I was just saying, he was wearing a regular jersey today. He was taking contact. Looks good to go for the season opener against Florida. And then you got Patrice Bergeron, the same deal. He was skating in a regular jersey today. Cassidy said that he's likely to play opening night after dealing with back spasms this summer. You want me to just like blow through most of these guys?
No, I can do the next one.
All right.
So next up coming back is Keith Yandel, who is day-to-day with an upper body injury, but isn't expected to be out too long. Coach Bob Bugner expects him to practice this week, and hoping that he'll be back ready for next week's games.
All right. So next up, we're just going to start off this hockey season talking about Corey Crawford at least once a week. So this week it looks good. Next week it won't look good, I'm sure. Crawford is going to travel with the team on their upcoming road trip, but Coach Quenneville warns that you shouldn't read too much into this. And then I was reading on Twitter that Mark Lazarus is saying that he's been seeing almost exclusively low shots, which while Cam Ward and Anton Forsberg are getting like everybody's best. So there's going to be a long process here. So while it's encouraging to see him back with the Hawks practicing for the first time since February, he is medically cleared, and I'm going to add, I don't know what the hell I mean by that. So I would draft him. I would add him with caution. It could still be weeks or more until we see Corey Crawford at 100%.
And still, even at that, I would have Corey Crawford with a grain of salt.
Yeah, okay, he did really well last year, but it was a small amount of time, small sample size. Who knows?
So next up, we got Coots. Oh, Sean Couturier. So Sean Couturier went down with an MCL injury in last year's playoffs. If any of you remember, we remember probably a little better than most of you do, unless you're from the Philadelphia area like we are. He did, however, return for his first preseason game on Saturday, and he looks like he's going to be 100% ready to go for this season, which is great because I want to see that top line come back with him, Claude Giroux, and Travis Konecny.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. The next one, we got badass Kyle Connor. He took a puck to the fucking throat, but he looks okay. So Coach Paul Maurice said he's fine. He expects him to be perfectly fine going into the year. Just a little scare, little puck to the throat, upper body injury. That's the thing. They're just going to call it an upper body injury. And so lastly, we're talking
about pucks to the throat. Why don't you go to the face next?
Zach Werenski? Oh yeah, last year. I wish I would have got one of those T-shirts that they had made. All right, Zach Werenski, he logged 25 minutes and 4 assists in Friday's 7-6 win over the Penguins. So when I say that he should be good to go, the numbers speak for themselves. He should be primed for like really great deployment, especially while Jones is on the shelf, and maybe his draft positioning. If you guys are drafting, tomorrow night or whatever, maybe a little higher than you would have before.
And I mean, remember, Seth Jones is going to be out for a solid month and a half. So in all honesty, if Zach Werenski plays well like they originally expected him to do and really grow into that person, he may keep that top spot. So watch out, Seth Jones.
My bet's on the other side of that, but
mine is too. But I'm saying he's going to be given a chance to earn that spot. And if you're playing well, this is not a league where it's just like, oh, you used to have that spot, so you get it back right away. It ain't like that. If you're playing good, they're going to play the hot hand.
Perfect example, Alex Pietrangelo last year. All right. Do you want to go into line combos, or do you want to do the ADP?
We can do the line combos. You already kind of touched on Troy Terry, so we can kind of go right into that. And we can do line combos after that, because really after that it's kind of just us kind of talking,
Yeah, free balling.
Yeah.
How would you feel about a smoke right now?
That would be fine.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Especially because after we do these line combinations, if we go into the ADP stuff, and then kind of it's gonna continue to be a little more fluid,
Yeah, just free balling
instead of doing that and then going right back into a little more.
So how do you want to do these line combos? Do you want to switch 1 for 1, or do you want to you take the West, I'll take the East, or how do you want to do it? Which I can send you my updated one. I don't know if you want to bring it up on your computer.
That's fine. You didn't do every team though, I noticed. So.
Well, I finished them, so I can send you the new one. Yeah.
Well, we can. Don't worry about it. I mean, we can go 1 for 1 as what you have here, and then you can just finish them off. I say we try to burn through these decently quick when we
Yeah.
do it. It's not like we have to really talk about them. That, and I know enough about the lines that you don't have written here that I think I'll be all right. I'm sure I can add a
Yeah. I
couple.
think I left it out because
Okay. Well,
yeah,
let's
I know.
go do that. I gotta poop anyway.
Decent. damn it! I keep doing that. All right. So next up, we are going to focus on some of the line combinations and just out of the ordinary things that you might not have not expected to happen going into the season, but some of the guys that are just out of the ordinary that you wouldn't expect to be in the top 6 or on the top power play, that kind of thing. So we'll start off right away with Anaheim. You got a guy by the name of Troy Terry who's sneaking into the top line with Getzlaf and Raquel. Terry's a 5th-round pick in 2015 and could be in a pretty sweet position to start the season at the very least. So if he excels on the top line, he should be considered as good as anyone as a streamer, especially with Anaheim's really sweet schedule this year with 52 off-night games. Outside of that, you got guys like Andre Kasha, who saw time on the second line last week with Silverberg on the left and Henrique in the middle. What the fuck? You got Silverberg on the right, who is so he's left wing, right wing. Fuck. What the hell did I even write here? So the second line is projected to be Maxime Comtois, Adam Henrique, and Jacob Silverberg. And my thoughts are that if Terry flops on the top line, Kasha could rightfully get a look, even with Silverberg's versatility. He could fill in or move over to the left to accommodate Kasha on the second line. So for me, Kasha is the one to look out for. He could move up to the top line. He could move up to the second line. Given if Troy Terry flops or if Maxime Comtois flops, you could have somebody like Silverberg move over and Kasha up. Or if Terry just straight up shits the bed, Kasha could just be the guy to move up while Corey Perry's out. So you got power play 1 looking like Henrique, Raquel, and Silverberg. And then you got Getzlaf and Fowler on the points. And power play 2 looks like Andre Kasha and top prospect in Sam Steele and Troy Terry with Montour and Lindholm on the back end. Next up, we got Arizona.
So I'll take Arizona again since I talked about Galchenyuk a little earlier. With Galchenyuk out and Dvorak questionable with what is listed as a lower body injury, the top 6 spots are pretty much open. Clayton Keller and Stepan are definitely going to be on that top line. I mean, that's pretty set in stone. And like we were saying earlier, Richard Panik is looking to be on that top line with them. The second line is going to be Ryan Strome. Actually, wait, let me redo that. Let me just pull it up here.
Brendan Perlini, Strome, and Christian Fischer.
Yep. And I said Ryan Strome, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
He's fucking Islanders.
No, Ryan Strome. Ryan Strome's Oilers. Dylan Strome is Arizona.
Isn't there a Strome on the Islanders?
There's a Strome. Yeah, he got traded for Eberle last year.
So Ryan Strome was on the Islanders, and now,
yep.
Okay, that's how that whole Eberle thing happened.
So no, Ryan Strome.
You're completely right.
You're looking at Dylan. And then we got a Matt Strome in Philly.
So that being said about the top line, that second line is looking to be Brendan Perlini, Dylan Strome, and Christian Fischer. Now, as far as the power play goes, You're still looking at Perlini now going to jump into that top power play unit with Derek Stepan, Clayton Keller, and then backed up by OEL and Jacob Chikrin. It will drop Dick Panic down to the second power play unit with the others that we just talked about being Dylan Strome, Christian Fisher, and then on the back end, Alex Goligoski, who I actually like as a daily streamer personally, and then also Jason Demers coming over from Florida.
And then you even have a spot like Jacob Chikrin, who hasn't even skated with the Coyotes yet. So that could even open up a spot for somebody like Dick Panic.
You thought you'd jump in on that.
Yeah, I mean,
you like saying that now.
I want to get on the ground floor, man. So I got to start saying it.
All right, so next up, let's go up north, man.
Yeah, Boston. Curious case here. The second right wing and the third left wing seem to be question marks here. Where is Danton Heinen going to fit? Ryan Donato, Anders Bjork. I'm thinking that Anders Bjork is going to be the 10th forward here. And then you got somebody like Danton Heinen on the second power play and Donato on line 3, but still getting power play one time. So you got to kind of pick your poison here. You get Heinen, who has better even strength deployment, and then you got Donato, who's got better power play deployment. So yeah, you lose a minute or two of ice time with Donato at even strength, but if he's seeing top power play time with studs like, Bergeron, Pastrnak, the guys. So he's likely still going to get the same or more ice time than Danton Heinen for the time being, but it's still a toss-up. I mean, you got Donato playing 14 minutes a night and Heinen playing, I don't know, 15, 16, but then you throw up Donato on the top power play unit, so they could even out. So that's an interesting case there. Another one is Torrey Krug being sidelined for the minimum of 3 weeks, like we were talking about, and guys like McAvoy and Vakanainen are going to see boost in production, considering that Vakanainen gets that second power play time. So if Vac gets the time I'm thinking he's going to get, McAvoy is going to see the lion's share of power play one time, and McAvoy being already viable to be drafted and everything like that, he's going to see the almost the same as like Werenski, where for the first few weeks it's going to be awesome, and then for the the rest of the year it's just going to be good. Yeah, so that's what I got on Boston.
Well, we might as well stick to the cold and then just move over a little bit, go right to Buffalo. So Buffalo's big offseason move was the draft and drafting Casey Middlestad. He's got a lot of talk about him. He's really a highly touted prospect, and with the anticipation of Casey Middlestad, it kind of looks like he's actually going to be starting out on line 3 with Vladimir Sobotka and Kyle Okposo. Tage Thompson and Patrick Berglund crack the top 6 on the line with Connor Sheary, who is hopefully good to go. As for that top line, we've talked about it before. It'll be Jeff Skinner, Jack Eichel, and Sam Reinhart, who I love. Sam Reinhart, he's going to be worth having. I'm telling you, if he's playing with a healthy Jack Eichel, and Sam Reinhart even showed it last year without Jack Eichel, he can actually hold his own. Now, they weren't scoring a ton of points last year, but Sam Reinhart was usually on the 1 or 2 goals that they actually did get a game.
Yeah.
As for the power plays go, Risto and Dahlin looks like they're going to be split up, with Risto getting the first power play unit being with Skinner, Reinhart, Okposo, and Eichel, and Dahlin's going to slot in playing with Sheary, Middlestat, Thompson, and Jason Pominville.
So, I mean, that's not too bad. You got, especially for Sam Reinhart, you're playing with 2 guys that shoot a lot. So those are just contact assists that are going to happen there.
And I feel like it's actually going to play well to Sam Reinhart's game, because he does get down in front and does like to get those dirty goals. So with Jack Eichel skating around like a madman like he always does, and Jeff Skinner firing shots from the fucking point every time he gets across the blue line, hell,
There's going to be a lot of rebounds.
Sam Reinhart might pick up a couple dumpers.
I like that, dumpers. All right, Carolina, your hometown crowd now. So there's a lot of really weird things going on right now. You got Warren Foegele, Foegele, I don't know. Warren Foegele.
Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
For some reason, I thought it was Fogel.
All right, so either Warren Foegele or Warren Fogle. He played Sunday's final preseason game. He played it with Aho and Teravainen. But you got to keep in mind that Valentin Zykov was a scratch for that game. So I'm not going to put too much stock in the fact that Warren was on the top line. I think that they know what they have in Valentin Zykov, and he's been getting more and more power play time as a good net front guy. But then you got Warren Fogle, which could have just been an experiment to see what he could do with the best of the team. He's got balls too. So PK Subban knocked Sebastian Aho down and then kind of just threw a late punch in, and Warren Fogle went up and told PK Subban what's up. So he's an interesting case, but likely to slot into the middle six rather than the top line. I'm still thinking it's going to be Zykov, Aho, and Teravainen. As Svechnikov looks more and more like a line 2 power play 2 guy the closer that we get to the regular season. As for the defense, Justin Falk has been on the third pairing for most of the preseason and could find his way to being almost entirely irrelevant while he stays on the Canes. He's still like kind of a trade chip right now, but while he's on the Canes, he's not looking like a commodity. Calgary, we were talking about this earlier. So let's start off by talking about the guy that I just picked up.
Yeah, it's odd because honestly, usually you like talking about Calgary and you always give me Carolina. So I mean, hey, you took Carolina this time. I'll take Calgary.
Okay.
Okay. So you were just talking about the guy that you picked up, and that was Elias Lindholm. He's actually been skating on the top line with Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan for the time being. And he also is going to be on the first power play unit with both of them. So I think that was a good move by you.
Thank you.
As I had said, I was mulling it over the past couple of days. Saw him on the waiver wire. I was like, sorry, I have like bronchitis or something. So I was mulling it over these past couple of days. Like, okay, so who am I going to drop? Because I knew I wanted to pick up Elias Lindholm because I saw him kind of moving up to that top spot. And I also have Sean Monahan, so I kind of wanted that double. And then I went on to pick him up, and he was gone. And it was you that did it.
Yep.
And I was upset. However,
you did it to me with Ty Ratty.
I did do it with you to Ty Ratty. And like I said, in the long run, I'd rather have Ty Ratty playing with Connor McDavid as opposed to Elias Lindholm playing with Sean Monahan. So, but it is what it is. I would have liked to have had them both, but that's because I'm a greedy son of a bitch. Now, moving on. The third line looks to stay in contact as it was last year with Tkachuk.
Second line. So they call it the 3M line because you got Matthew Tkachuk.
Okay, I'll start that back over.
Backlund and Matthew Frolik or Michael Frolik or whatever it is.
So the second line with the 3Ms being Matthew, Michael, and Michael being Tkachuk, Backlund, and Frolik. As in years past, TJ and I love picking up Michael Backlund. He is fucking awesome. We've always been kind of back and forth, and it's whoever picks him up. But I love that that second pair up in Calgary. They just seem to work together. They have great continuity with each other. It's looking like James Neal, being new to the Calgary Flames, he's going to be now actually down onto the third line. So the real deal James Neal going from the first line in Vegas to the third line in Calgary. My, how the mighty have fallen. He is going to be playing with Derek Ryan, the former first-round pick, No, actually, I was thinking of Bobby Ryan. I'm going to take that back.
Cherry Hill's own Bobby Ryan.
So he's going to be on the third line playing with Derek Ryan and Dylan Dubé. Where the hell am I here?
James Neal gets power play 2 time for now.
James Neal actually is going to be getting power play 2 time for now. And then Noah Hannafin, who came over from Carolina, as we were just talking about, has been getting 0 power play time. Just as, honestly, he probably deserves, because he's not exactly that defenseman that's really going to step up on the offense. So instead, Mike Giordano is getting that power play 1 time, and TJ Brody is getting the power play 2.
Cats. All right. So, man, we're just flip-flopping because I know you would love to talk about Chicago right now.
Yeah, I got a lot invested in Chicago, which maybe wasn't the smartest idea, but we'll see how it plays out. I've actually been trying to package those two.
Yeah. All right.
I think it's a smart move.
Zach has Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat. Even though Alex DeBrincat is currently slotted for top line duties with Tays and somebody named Dominic Cahoon or Cahan. And we're going to get to him in a minute. But what I do want to say is it's about Alex DeBrincat, that he's playing the fucking left wing, which is what I've been harping about for a few months now, ever since the IIHF and just the crazy chemistry between Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane. It's my thoughts that those two should play together, and you should put Saad with Tays because they played last year together, and I know they both had down years, but hey, maybe it's going to work. I think it's going to offset how good DeBrincat and I mean, why wouldn't you just do DeBrincat, Tays, and Kane, and then just have a shitty second line? I mean, that's what Dallas does.
I mean, anyway. It's not the worst second line in the world. You know what I mean? Nick Schmaltz is a decent second line center. It's not the best second line center in the game. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, he's all right. And Brandon Saad has definitely proved his worth in the league. With that third line, you got Anisimov down the middle. It's not the worst 3 lines, but I definitely think with the chemistry that Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat have shown this past summer, you gotta put them together. Yeah. You have to.
Yeah, they should be playing together. And I think in time, that's the way it's going to wind up. And then, Brinksy and Kane are going to light it up, and they'll stick together. So maybe packaging them for right now for a trade could prove beneficial, but I don't know. I might even hold on.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of more down the line, because it's not like everybody in our league knows the players and knows the line combinations as well as maybe you and myself do.
Yeah, you would have to tell them.
Maybe if they're seen, because I mean, that's what we like to do. We sit around, we'll have the what the fuck is that?
It was vibrating on my table. It bumped the mic.
So, and I mean, that's definitely what we like to do. We like to have that app open, and then we're looking, we see who gets the goal, and then it's like everybody's looking. It's like, okay, who's getting the assists? Who's getting the assists? And then if you keep on seeing those 2 guys on the assist together, maybe it's going to work out for me. And that way people are going to see that name kind of out there. And the more they see it, the more they're going to want to get that combo, which I think is a good combo. And as long as I can get something decent for it, because you're only drafting names for names.
All right. So now about this guy, Dominic Cahoon. That's what I'm going to call him until I hear his name on the TV. He was 23 years old. He was a free agent who signed out of Germany's top league this summer. And he played for the first time with DeBrincat and Tays on. This was last Tuesday on the top line. So he and Tays did connect for a goal, and that brought Cahoon up to 4 points in 3 games with 2 goals, 2 assists. So there's a small chance he could start on the top line, but I'm not going to go rushing to the waiver wire for him. There's other options out there. Maybe, this is just they're testing the waters. It's preseason. I don't want to put too much eggs in one basket. And somebody I've never heard of, a free agent out of Germany, I'm not not going to rush. I'll put him on my watch list, but that's about it.
But you love those German hockey players.
Just Draisaitl because he's a handsome son of a bitch. We got a couple quick ones right up, so I'm going to blow through them just like a speed round here. Columbus, not much has changed outside of Seth Jones being out. So, like we were saying before, Werenski moves up, Nudavara moves up, and that's really it. Colorado, the only thing worth noting here is that Tyson Jost is going to get a look on the top power play. He could be a decent streamer considering how good Colorado's power play was last year. And then Dallas. This one's pretty easy. Jason Spezza has finally been getting some power play one time now that coach Ken Hitchcock is out of there. And I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Jim Montgomery doesn't hate Jason Spezza with a fucking burning passion. He's actually going to give him a chance. And a guy like Miro Heiskanen has been playing on power play too, but I'm not getting too excited about that because power play 2 is crap.
But it's definitely good to see him getting those power play reps.
Yeah.
And that's definitely important for his maturity as a hockey player. The fact that he's out there for the power play and has seen how it's ran. So that way in the future, hopefully he'll be running his own.
And I mean, you still got somebody like John Klingberg ahead of him. John Klingberg's still pretty young. So Miro Heiskanen is going to be living in Klingberg's shadow for a long time. So the best we can see is maybe 2 defensemen on power play 1, and that is best case scenario for Miro Heiskanen. I don't think he's going to overtake John Klingberg anytime soon, unless he gets traded for whatever reason. But they wouldn't even trade him for Erik Karlsson. So Miro Heiskanen, I'm not as high on him as I once was, considering that the ceiling seems to be power play 2.
I always kind of liked him coming out.
Yeah,
I think he's a good young player, and I think he's going to be something special in the years to come.
He was exciting to watch. But outside of that, they did try Blake Como out on the top line. That didn't work out so well, so they reunited Radulov with Ben and Sagan. And yeah, I mean, that's it. Detroit, another easy one. Tyler Bertuzzi is seeing some top line time. He's kind of an interesting character. He's getting top power play time too with Nyquist, Larkin, Dennis Rasmussen, Michael Rasmussen, one of the two. I'll look it up later. And up and comer Denny Cholo, who, that's the nickname, right? Denny Cholo. So Dennis Cholowski.
Denny Cholo is so much better. Like, it's not even close.
Give Denny Cholo a couple days or a couple weeks. Maybe Trevor Daley comes back. Maybe Mike Green comes back. Who knows? But until then, you got Cholo just to stream, or just put on your watch list, whatever. Do you want to take Edmonton?
You know what? As much as I know you like talking about the Oilers, I will take Edmonton.
You got Ty Ratty, so
yeah. Well, I think it was a smart move. So I mean, I don't know if anybody else did this. I'm hoping.
Oh wait! Before you start, so my first sentence is a run-on sentence. The big story here seems to be Ty Ratty. I don't know why I said the big story here. Pretty much is the big story here.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go right off. I wasn't gonna. I read that and I wasn't gonna read straight off of it.
So it could either be the big story here seems to be Ty Ratty, or Ty Ratty seems to be the hot topic right now. I don't know what I was doing. Smokes a lot of weed.
Like I was just saying, I picked up Ty Ratty. Hopefully you guys did too. If anybody had the foresight to draft him, then good for you. I think he's a hold for now, and he is definitely the hot topic right now. So amongst the top scorers in the preseason, he's been red hot, as are most players that pretty much, I mean, TJ could be playing with Connor McDavid, and he'd probably do okay.
That would stream me.
Maybe for a game or two, sure. I'd give it a try. But it's been Jesse Puljujarvi who has been getting the power play 1 time. Now, both are breakout candidates, and both are sharing ice with Connor, and sharing the ice with Connor McDavid is going to do that. Now, your next question is Leon Draisaitl going to hold down that second line? He was so 3 years ago, he was great playing with Connor McDavid. Let me redo that. 2 years ago, he was great playing with Connor McDavid. Last year, he was given his own line because he wanted to kind of go out there and prove himself. They both got these big deals. He wants to hold down that second line. He wants to kind of be like the Evgeny Malkin to Sidney Crosby as he would be to Connor McDavid. That's the best way that I can say it. Now, is he going to be able to hold down that second line? Next up, what's going to happen with Kyler Yamamoto? We kind of talked about this before we started recording. I'm looking for Kyler Yamamoto to break out. I really am. I mean, he could make it all the way up to that top line. He's a super fast young kid who has great fucking hands. However, Ty Ratty does too. I mean, he plays the similar sort of game, and he's kind of already slotted into that top spot. Next up, what else? Oscar Klefbom. Oscar Klefbom is a guy that TJ and I have always been kind of going back after. I think he's a great hold for now to see how he is. But I mean, in some leagues, you're going to even be able to find him on your waiver wire. Lastly, Cam Talbot. The season that he had last year, that just cannot happen again.
Hurts.
Now, in preseason this year, he's been kicking some serious ass. Am I ready to say, okay, go out and trade for Cam Talbot? Fuck no, I'm not. You do that at your own risk. If you feel like doing that, then I hope you know what you're doing, and I hope you are right and I am wrong. But I'm not trading for him yet. I definitely want to see how he is, and I also want to see how their power play bounces back.
All right. Let's see. All right. Next up, we got Florida. They got a pretty crazy top six right now of Dadonov, Barkov.
Crazy episode. I'm talking about all your teams. You're talking about all my teams.
I know it's straight up backwards.
Crazy episode in general. Go ahead. Florida. Go ahead. Fucking take them.
So their top six is fucking solid on paper, and it's probably going to be solid on ice too. You got Dadonov, Barkov, and Bjugstad on the top line. Huberdeau, Trocheck, and Hoffman on the second line. With a power play one.
Second line in hockey. The best second line in hockey.
It's at the very least got to be in the conversation. So the power play one unit is going to be Alexander Barkov, Vincent Trocheck, Mike Hoffman, Evgeny Dadonov, and Keith Yandel. That is fucking scary. And you still have enough to kind of like temper out the second power play unit with Jonathan Huberdeau and Nick Bjugstad. And then you got Henrik Borgstrom, Mike Matheson, and Aaron Ekblad. Three kind of, well, you got Aaron Ekblad, so two kind of unknowns here. Johnny Huberdeau and Nick Bjugstad, who are solid. So that they could even carry the weight for the second power play unit. But that number one power play unit is insane. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be real fucking good.
Yeah, don't sleep on Nick Bjugstad either.
Nope.
Seriously.
Center and right wing too.
Yeah, he's one of those dual guys that if you do different positions, you do left wingers, right wingers, and centers, you can slot him into that right wing spot and still get the fucking face-offs for it. I love that shit. How can you not?
I mean, even that, you're getting him down at like 140.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a solid value pick that you can get in later rounds that really is going to be flying under a lot of people's radar because there's so many other kind of big names on that team. I mean, a lot of players are going to go ahead of him, like Barkov, like Huberdeau, like Trocheck, like Mike Hoffman, like Keith Yandel.
Honestly, even Dadonov, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a whole bunch of players that are going to go ahead of him, but he's got a great fucking spot on that team. He's on that top line. You know what I mean? He's going to get points.
So for these,
he's going to be at the back end of people drafted on that team. So you could easily get him in I would say even like, if I'm hoping that when you drafted him, it was 13 or 14 plus.
Yeah.
I think that is totally doable. And in some leagues, he's not even going to be drafted. if you're in like a lower team league, he's going to be on that waiver wire, and that's scary.
For those of you guys that did already draft, the preseason is the time to try and upgrade. So send a trade out for Nick Bjugstad, center right wing. Going to be playing with studs on even strength. Second power play is not too bad, but yeah, like we're saying, serious value pick. You might be able to trade somebody low on your totem pole and get Nick Bjugstad. I'm going to blow through a couple here and maybe just offset how, I don't know, I'm trying to think of where I want to start. But anyway, LA Kings, you got Dustin Brown, like we were saying before, out with a broken finger. Alex Iafallo is back up on the top line. As far as the power play units go, they're running with 2D right now on the top unit with Jake Muzzin and Andrew Doughty in the back end. The power play one looks solid for now. You got Kovalchuk, Carter, and Kopitar. And I don't know, maybe even Dustin Brown will come back for that one. Minnesota, not much is too different. You got Nino Niederreiter on line 2 with Parise and
real
Koivu.
quick. I want to go over something real quick with the Kings before you move on to Minnesota.
All right.
So I have a question about the Kings for you. That question is Ilya Kovalchuk, question mark.
Just question mark?
Question mark. He slotted right into that top unit. He's getting power play time on top of the fact that it's on the first power play unit. We haven't seen Ilya Kovalchuk in quite a while. Are you as high on him as some other people are, or am I just an ass? You know what I mean? I can't get behind drafting him as high as I've seen him go with his ADP.
So I kind of think of Kovalchuk like, in a way, I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about, but I see him as like a James Van Riemsdyk, where he shoots a lot. And from what I'm hearing, like, he might play on the first and the second power play unit, just stay out for the whole 2 minutes. Bump somebody like Dion Phaneuf off the second unit. That's what he was doing poor Dion. He's got to go home to Alicia Cuthbert.
Even though Dion Phaneuf had a fucking laser in that their third preseason game, he had a laser from the fucking point on the power play. It was a good fucking shot.
So if that's something that's actually going to happen, I've heard just whispers of Kovalchuk just being out there for all of the power play time. But I don't know. He shoots a good clip, like 3 a game. I've seen some like gifs of him just dancing around players. He looks like he's still got it. I mean, I'm not as high on him as some people, but I don't think I'm low on him either.
That's fair enough. That's why I asked. I wanted to know.
All right, so I'm going to go into one of my teams now in Minnesota. Nino Niederreiter, he's looking to slot into line 2 with Parise and Koivu. The top line sticks together in Zucker, Stahl, and Granlund. One strange thing is Charlie Coyle is on the third line, but he's playing, or at least has been playing, on the power play 1 unit. I'm not sold on him. He was fine 2 years ago as like a streamer.
That's your boy, dude. Charlie Coyle is your fucking boy.
I'm fucking over it, man. He was shit last year, and he's probably going to be shit again this year. So I'm not sold on Charlie Coyle.
I will say, though, I don't know many third line left wingers that play in the top power play unit.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. Ryan Donato, the only other one I can think of. I guess Montreal's my team too, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope so, because I don't want him.
All right, so you got Max Domi out because he punched fucking, I think it was Aaron Ekblad. I think it was Aaron Ekblad.
It was Aaron Ekblad.
So he just punched him in the face for whatever reason.
Feel like doing it.
The projected top 6 right now, I'm not trusting it because you're missing Domi, who's obviously going to be in your top 6. It's projected as Thomas Tatar, Philip Deneau, and Brendan Gallagher on the top line with Druin Kokoniemi, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and Joel Armia. are the second line. Jeff Petrie is obviously going to get that top power play unit up until Weber comes back right around Christmas time. And outside of that, I mean, there's no fantasy relevance. So it's almost not even worth thinking about.
Okay, so back to Jersey.
Jersey,
It's about fucking time we talk about Jersey again.
yeah,
We've only
boys.
talked about them for a good amount already, but we need to talk about them more. All right. Top line, staying the way it is. And it should, because Taylor Hall, Nico Hischier, and Kyle Palmieri have actually gained a little bit of continuity through last year. Nico Hischier really kind of came into his own, and what I'm seeing from him is great passes. That's what I want to see from Nico Hischier. Taylor Hall is the scorer. Nico Hischier needs to be the playmaker. Now your second line is looking at Jesper Bratt, Pavel Zacha, and Marcus Johansson. Now, Marcus Johansson, I kind of honestly thought more was going to happen last year with him. I don't know about you. When he was coming over from Washington, I thought he was going to break out to be more. Hischier is going to be joining on that top power play unit, along with Kyle Palmieri, Taylor Hall, his line mates, Travis Zajac, and Will Butcher, the infamous Will Butcher.
Fucking Will Butcher, man. So you got Hischier, who
I'm sorry, I was reading that last thing that you wrote, and it made me laugh. Go ahead.
So you got Hischier, who topped out at 6 power play points last year. I mean, you can see him putting another, I don't know, 10 to 15 on top of that, maybe breaking 60 points this year. I mean, playing with Taylor Hall, that's never a bad look. So now on to my least favorite team in the world is the New York Islanders. So this
whoa.
I'm fucking walking here. I'm fucking walking here, bud. So this entire offseason, I've just been talking about how well Jordan Eberle and Matt Barzal play together. And I guess Barry Trotz doesn't want to fucking hear it because now Eberle's on the second line. He's playing with Anders Lee and Brock Nelson. And then you got Anthony Beauvillier playing with Barzal and Bailey. So we'll see how long that lasts. I don't know, but I guess that drops Eberle's stock a little bit. But I think in the end, he is going to be playing on that top line. As far as the power play units go, you got Nick Leddy backing the first unit and Ryan Pulock, who's actually seriously awesome for shots, for hits, for blocks, and for potential, who could eventually take over Nick Leddy with little to no competition. I mean, even right now, they're almost the same type of players. So look for Ryan Pulock to eventually take over that number 1 power play unit.
Okay, so moving on to the other side of the New York area, we're going to go with the Rangers. Real quick, cut this out. Is it Philip Chytil?
Chytil,
Yeah.
That's
right. Okay. So moving over to the other side of the New York area, the New York Rangers. So that top line is going to be Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, and Pavel Buchnevich, who I thought was a prime pick at the end of the draft this year.
Solid last pick.
So for your second line is our boy Vladdy Namestnikov, who TJ and I love, Filip Chytil, and Matt Zuccarello. One thing to kind of look at here, Kevin Hayes got bumped down to the third line, and he was a solid streamer last year. Where is he going to end up this year? Is he going to end up taking that second center spot from Filip Chytil, or not? And then lastly, coming down here, Jimmy Vesey. Wow. What in the world happened? He had
hold on. Before you get into it, Lias Anderson got sent to the AHL today, so likely VC is going to be third line left wing.
Okay, so Jimmy Vesey on the third line. He was originally projected for the fourth. We'll we'll see what happens with you this year, VC. I mean, it just seems like he's getting bumped off the puck a lot, or at least he was last year. Um, he needs to use that speed to his advantage, and we'll see how that goes. As far as your power play units, on the top line, you're going to have Hedel, Zibanejad, Kreider, Buchnevich, and Shattenkirk manning that top power play unit, with Shattenkirk kind of being the quarterback there. Number 2, you're going to have VC, Kevin Hayes, Matt Zuccarello, and Brady Shea, with Anderson getting sent down to the AHL. Look for Jesper Fast to kind of move into that spot, or at least I would think so.
Or even Ryan Spooner too.
If it were me, I'd put Jesper Fast there. But that's just me.
Nashville. Right?
Okay,
yeah.
It stopped. It was ringing.
Oh, sorry. So next up, we got Nashville. Just a minor move in the top 6. It looks like Kevin Fiala and Victor Arvidsson are switching spots. Kevin Fiala is going to be playing on the top line, but remains on the second power play unit, and Arvidsson is going to be playing on the second line and remaining on the top power play unit. So I don't know if they're just trying to experiment, maybe move out I don't know whether they're trying to like spur something new or if they're trying to spread out their offense a little bit. Who knows? But Kevin Fiala, for the time being, is going to be on the top line, at least to start the season.
Okay. Now we're going to move to Ottawa. So Ottawa has a first line. They have a second line, a third line, and then they also have a fourth line. They have a first power play unit and a second power play unit. Everybody sucks on Ottawa.
And they're gonna at least they're gonna be top 31, and that's it.
Okay. So let me just name off their first power play unit, and you tell me what you think, TJ. So Ryan Dzingel at center, Bobby Ryan on his left, Mark Stone on his right, Chris Weidman, and then Matt Duchene.
Ouch. I really thought it'd be Shabbat.
Mark Stone, you were the only person on this team that I'm interested in having.
So really, Chris Weidman's getting top power play unit time instead of
as far as right now, he is getting top power play unit. Now that second power play unit is going to be newcomer Chris Tierney coming over from the Sharks in that trade for Erik Karlsson, Colin White, Brady Tkachuk, Thomas Chabot, and Mikkel Bodker, who also came over from the Sharks. So hopefully, Bodker and Tierney at least have a little bit of knowledge of each other's game and kind of man down that second power play unit. Now, like we were saying, honestly, if you want Craig Anderson on your team, be my guest. If you want anybody other than Mark Stone on your team, except for maybe Thomas Chabot, who you could take a flyer on, you don't know what he's going to be, but he's looking like he's going to be good.
Well, Matt Duchene.
Somebody's got to score.
What do you think about Matt Duchene then?
I have just personally seen enough of Matt Duchene.
You over it?
Yeah, I am over it because honestly, I used to love Matt Duchene. I had all these high hopes for the guy. He was always kind of, especially Colorado, really kind of projected him to the public and to their fans as like their guy. Like he is this like top forward in the league,
face of the franchise,
and he's just not. I don't know what to say.
He is going pretty late right now and could prove to be some sort of value pick. Yeah, I think he's going like right around 150
in a late round. I feel you. But honestly, Mark Stone is the guy in Ottawa. It's just my opinion.
All right, so that gives me Philadelphia.
How'd that work out?
I don't know. I think I shuffled some stuff around, took a few teams in a row, and made it work that way. Travis Konechny, he's going to get the top line duties at least to start the year. They tried a bunch of people out last year. Michael Raffel. They had Voracek on there for a while. But as far as the power play units go, we've been talking a lot about this. Is it going to be JVR? Is it going to be 2 net front presences in JVR and Simmons with Couturier moving down? But as far as practice lines and And preseason go, you got Voracek, Couturier, Simmons with Giroux and Ghost on the back for power play 1. And then power play 2 looks like JVR, Patrick, TK, and one of Lindblom or Sanheim, and then Provorov on the back end. So you got a second power play unit that's actually looking good to begin with. And then you got a power play unit of the power play number 1 with Couturier and Patrick. They could be interchangeable. Simmons and JVR could be interchangeable. There's going to be a lot of moving parts for a little bit. At least I think so, that they're going to try and work out the kinks there. As far as the goalie situation goes, you got Neuwirth out. No surprise there. Why am I blanking on Stolarz' first name?
Anthony.
Is it Anthony?
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking Alex Lyon. I was mixing those two up. Anthony Stolarz is in right now. So my guess is being that Brian Elliott's going to be getting like a pretty huge bulk of the starts, at least until Neuwirth is back.
Okay, so moving on, we're going to head across the state out to the ugly part of the state where all the cold is from, and that is the Pittsburgh area. It's pretty shitty out there. I hope y'all are listening from Pittsburgh too.
I've never been.
Okay, so Pittsburgh, we know the deal in Pittsburgh. Sidney Crosby's on that top line. Whenever Patrick Hornquist is healthy, he's playing with Sidney Crosby. Now that third spot on the top line is always up for debate. It's looking like it's going to be Jake Guentzel. He does have a lot of chemistry with Sidney Crosby and has played with him a lot. But then again, I've seen Carl Hagelin up there. I've seen Daniel Sprong get thrown up there. I've seen Brian Rust get thrown up there. So there's all these different people that have played with Sidney Crosby. So it's kind of like a very fluid situation on that first line. Sidney Crosby makes everybody viable, makes everybody good. However, Patrick Hornquist is always going to play with Crosby, just like Phil Kessel is always going to play with Evgeny Malkin. It just always seems to work out that way. They have their line set out. Now, going to the first power play unit, no surprises here. It's going to be the same as always. Patrick Hornquist, Malkin, Crosby, Kessel, and Chris Letang. Your second power play really fucking drops off. Let's just be honest. It really drops. It goes off a fucking cliff. Chances are that first power play unit is going to be out there for most of the time. Just be ready for it. Don't expect a lot from your second power play guys, which is Guentzel, Derek Brassard, Daniel Sprong, Justin Schultz, and Jack Johnson. Now, like we were saying with Jake Guentzel earlier, he is one of those late value picks that I kind of see similar to Nick Bjugstad. Hopefully you got him late just because there are so many other draftable players from the Pittsburgh Penguins, like all those guys we've already named, and then even throw Matt Murray into that bunch. Chances are you're drafting Matt Murray way before you're drafting Jake Guentzel. So him being the sixth guy on your list, in some leagues, he might not have even gotten drafted.
And anybody playing with Crosby is worth looking at the same way. Like, I mean, you got Tyratty, so it's just those.
And I don't know about you, but when I'm drafting people, I'm not drafting them just for themselves. I'm drafting them for the people that they're playing with.
Yeah,
I care that somebody's playing with Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? Conor McGregor is the best hockey player in this league.
The best athlete, that's for sure.
100%.
San Jose. So the big story here is going to be Erik Karlsson. He was seen practicing on the top power play, and it looks like they're going to stack it. So EK is going to be a hot commodity going into what drafts might be left, or trade targets, stuff like that. It looks like
give up a lot though.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have a dangerous top power play unit. So I'm not excited about playing anybody with Brent Burns or Erik Karlsson on their team. It's going to be rough.
Okay, so next we're going to move to St. Louis. Top line, Vladimir Tarasenko. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be Patrick Maroon and Ryan O'Reilly playing with him, which I find incredibly odd. I don't know about you. How is Jaden Schwartz not up on that top line with Vladimir Tarasenko?
Yeah, that's been like a
all the
mainstay.
continuity that they have, like what in the world is going on down there? However, I've said this before. The St. Louis Blues have one of the best lineups up and down, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines in the game. And they have a solid defense too. So that second line is shaping up to look like Jaden Schwartz, Braden Shen, who's a power play monster, and David Perron. I love me some David Perron. Always have, always will. Then even their third line has draftable players. Alex Steen, Tyler Bozak, and then Samuel Blaze. Now, as for their power play unit, you're going to have Alex Pietrangelo on there, who is easily a top 8 defenseman, I would have him at. So that first power play unit, finally, Jaden Schwartz is playing with Tarasenko, Braden Shen, Alex Steen, and then, like we said, Pietrangelo. One thing I do wish, me having Ryan O'Reilly, I wish Ryan O'Reilly was on that top spot instead of Alex Steen. But what are you going to do? Hopefully he moves in there. Right now he's going to be playing with Perron, Robert Thomas, Jordan Carew, and then Colton Parayko.
Yeah, it does seem like Alex Steen is kind of the odd man out, or at least low man on the totem pole there.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like it fits.
If anybody's moving out, Alex Steen's the one moving down. All right. Tampa Bay. We got another one of my teams. Especially,
hey, at least I'm going to get Toronto. You know what
I mean? Yeah, there you go.
All
right. JT Miller, somebody that I was regarding as kind of like a sleeper candidate. I mean, you got Tyler Johnson gone right now, so everything could be a little bit shaken up when he does get back. But as of right now, JT Miller does not look like he's locked into a top power play. Doesn't look like he's locked into a top power play role as we had previously expected. As of today, the top power play is Alex Killorn, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, Victor Hedman, and Braden Point. And then you got Andre Palat, JT Miller, Yanni Gourde, Mikhail Sergachev, and Ryan McDonough on the second power play unit. So, I mean, you still have JT Miller working at even strength with Kuch and Stammer, but you got Ty Joe out, so maybe they wanted to spread their power plays out a little bit. Keep that in mind, especially like if you're even thinking about drafting a guy like Anthony Cirelli. As a third line center right now, that's not going to happen. He's going to wind up moving down or just moving out. And then I just wanted to, for a little bit, talk about Danick Martel. Was claimed off Philadelphia. He was doing pretty damn well for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. So I'm pretty curious to see what he brings to the lineup. Just got him on watch list. I just got him on my watch list, kind of just for novelty. I don't think he's going to be rosterable, but I just want to keep a tab on him. So your Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, William Nylander. Is he going to be traded?
No.
It looks like general manager Kyle Dubas said that Nylander will not be traded, as per Brian Compton of NHL.com. I was worried. I love Nylander. I think Willie Nylander is awesome. If they're going to get rid of somebody, I wish they would get rid of Mitch Marner instead. But what are you going to do? If they trade him, they do, because somebody says, hey, this guy ain't going to get traded. Yeah, I've heard that before a million times. Oddly enough, William Nylander isn't on their projected list, but I would say expect him to be on that second line with Austin Matthews and Patrick Marleau. In all honesty, their first two lines are kind of a 1A and 1B, with John Tavares on the other center spot with Mitch Marner, who is, let's be honest, he's going to have a breakout season because he's playing with John Tavares.
Big time.
Just go ahead and ask Josh Bailey what he thinks about it. Along with John
Wait,
Tavares,
35-point player Josh Bailey or the 79-point player Josh Bailey?
the latter.
There you go.
So along with John Tavares and Mitch Marner is projected to be Zach Hyman, who I have always seen have a lot of really good chemistry with Austin Matthews. So I'd kind of like to see them back together. But also that third line, not too shabby. You got Josh Lievo down there, Nazem Kadri, and Connor Brown. Connor Brown, good sleeper pick. Be aware. Now, as for this power play unit, you're going to have John Tavares, Nazem Kadri, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, and Morgan Riley as of now. When Nylander comes back, expect him to slip into that Nazem Kadri spot, and John Tavares will take over the center for the first power play unit. Now, their second power play unit definitely drops off a little bit. I think that's where Nazem Kadri is going to end up. Probably playing with Tyler Ennis, Patrick Marleau, Kasperi Kapanen, and Jake Gardiner. Jake Gardiner, another really good pickup. I like Morgan Riley definitely better than Jake Gardiner, but he is worth having. Jake Gardiner, hopefully he is your third best defenseman. As for, we all know about Frederik Andersen. He is going to get the lion's share of all the starts with Garrett Sparks behind him. They just moved out McElhenney, so Frederik Andersen, he's your guy.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett Sparks just won the what do they call it? The Calder Cup, I think it is.
Yeah, and Frederik Andersen is a top 5 goalie in the league.
Yeah, so it's pretty much going to be the same type of timeshare that Andersen was looking at, 60 to 65 games, no doubt. But they're going to give Garrett Sparks. I mean, he's the goalie of the future. He's not much younger than Frederik Andersen, but still somebody you got to look at. All right, Vancouver. There's
yeah, you take him.
Yeah, not much going on here, but Sven Baertschi hit the ice again. He could be a decent option for streaming. I mean, you got him on the top line, the top power play for now. You got Sam Gagner got waived, so it's likely that Baertschi is going to stay on the top line. And then you got Alex Edler, the long forgotten stud. I mean, he goes so late in drafts and he does everything. He shoots, he hits, he blocks, and he's manning the top unit right now. Yeah, he's a serious sleeper. Yeah, I mean, if you're one of the people that are drafting tomorrow night or, right before the draft or right before the season opens, Alex Edler is definitely somebody to keep up your sleeve for one of the last rounds. Vegas, your team, bud.
Okay, so Vegas is going to regress this year? Yes?
A bit.
Most likely. However, they did make some good offseason moves. I like their offseason moves. They picked up Paul Stastny. They traded for Max Pacioretty. I'm a fan. As for that top line, you're still looking at Jonathan Marchessault playing with William Karlsson and Riley Smith. They seem to play well together, so you're not going to want to break them up. Now you're going to have the new guys. You're going to have Patches, Stastny, and what was looking like Alex Tuch on the second line is now looking more like Erik Haula. Hopefully Tuch does get better, is back for the start of the season, and does have that second line spot. As for your power play units, you're going to have Patches playing with Karlsson, Smith, Colin Miller, and Jonathan Marchessault. Now, this is most likely because Nate Schmidt is suspended, as most of us know, for the first couple of games. But he's suspended. We won't get into it.
Taking a bunch of Adderall.
Yeah, he's not going to be playing for the first couple of games. It just wasn't worth fighting the man because it turns out that you can't fight City Hall. So your second power play unit is definitely hurting a little more. That first power play unit it's gonna kick ass. It just is. But on the second one, you're looking at Thomas Nosek, Erik Haula, Alex Tuch, Shea Theodore, and Paul Stastny. Not too shabby, but nowhere near that first.
Yeah. All right, now on to the Stanley Cup champions, the Winnipeg Jets. The guys I'm looking at kind of under the radar here are Matthew Perreault,
I'm gonna shit in your cereal, dude.
Christian Vesalainen, and Jack Roslovic, and Brian Little even. So these are all guys that are either going undrafted or kind of going super under the radar right now, especially Vesalainen and Roslovic. These are two guys that are just straight up not getting drafted.
What an
Ehlers,
ugly name. He's
who's
not
that?
getting drafted because of his ugly name.
Jack Roslovic?
Yeah.
Roslovic? I don't know. I think it's Roslovic.
So do I.
Vesalainen, Roslovic, and Nikolai Ehlers have been playing bottom 6 minutes, but it's a pretty good fucking third line. And then you got guys like Matthew Perreault who are piggybacking on the top power play unit and then somebody like Nick Ehlers who is on the second power play unit. With Brian Little, Kyle Connor, Jacob Trouba, and Tyler Myers, which is the second power play unit that can definitely do some damage. But like you were saying before with Vegas, the Winnipeg first power play is going to be lethal. So Matthew Perreault is somebody that's going under the radar right now and likely still even on your waiver wire, but he's playing top 6 minutes, top power play time, and he's one of my favorite streamers. So I know I'm keeping an eye on him.
Except for the fact that he looks like he's going to strap a bomb to his chest and skate out on the ice.
He looks like a fucking Dothraki.
Yeah. He does. He's a Dothraki screamer.
So last team, man, Washington Capitals.
Do you mean the Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals?
Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals.
When you were talking about Winnipeg, for some reason I thought you said something about them winning the cup or something. Not going to happen. Don't get me wrong. Hellbuck is a great pick this year, but they're not going to win the Stanley Cup.
It's foreshadowing, man. They're going to win.
Yep, you're wrong. Okay, so last team here. We're down to the Washington Capitals. There's another player on this top unit that I find to be just like Nick Bjugstad, like we were talking about earlier, Tom Wilson. When Tom Wilson played with the top line last year, he tore it up. If you have hits in your league, if you have penalty minutes in your league, all these things, Tom Wilson going to do it for you. If you have handsomeness rating in your league, Tom Wilson also going to do it for you. He's going to be playing with Evgeny Kuznetsov and Alex Ovechkin. Anybody that's playing with Alex Ovechkin is going to do well for themselves. On top of the fact that if you're also playing with a man like Evgeny Kuznetsov, who has just magical hands, he's going to get points. Look for Tom Wilson because he's going to be another one of those late sleepers because there's so many people you're drafting before him, including the second line with Nicholas Backstrom, TJ Oshie, and Jacob Vrana on there currently. I see Burakovsky possibly moving up into that second spot, but we'll see. Andrei Burakovsky has underwhelmed a little bit in Washington, so we'll see what he turns out to be this season. As you remember, John Carlson signed that big contract this year. He's staying with Washington. He's actually going to be on the second D pairing. However, he is going to be on the first power play, playing alongside Alex Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Backstrom, and Oshie. That power play unit looks fucking scary. Once again, like a lot of these really good teams, they go top heavy on that first power play, on top of the fact that Alex Ovechkin is going to be out there for 1 minute and 59 seconds out of the 2 minutes. And he is going to stand at the same spot and just fire in shots and get power play goals. Now, your second unit is going to be Jacob Vrana, Chandler Stevenson, Brett Connolly, Dmitry Orlov, and Matt Niskanen going double D on the back end of that second power play. So that wraps up all of the new lines, everything that we kind of wanted to throw out there as new players, and a couple of sleepers there for you.
So I got one more thing I want to add about Washington. Tom Wilson just laid out that brutal hit on Oscar Sundqvist the other day, and is probably going to be getting suspended from anywhere from like 0 to 20 games. I don't know. But with that, you got a right wing spot being open, and TJ Oshie, personally, I got him at over 200 in my ADP last night. So him going super late and maybe playing with Kuznetsov and Ovechkin for the first couple weeks of the season, that could be some serious value right there.
Yeah, the fact
just
that
a little something.
The fact that TJ Ocean had a down year from what he had 2 years ago, he is kind of going under the radar a little bit this season.
Yeah.
And you can get him at a value. Don't get it twisted. TJ Oshie is still fucking awesome. He just is. He's getting that first power play time on top of the fact that he's still getting a lot of minutes on the second unit. So
I just want him to shoot more.
That's not his game.
Yeah.
It's just not. He takes shots when TJ Oshie feels like taking shots. And then they go in.
So that's what we got as far as the line combinations that have been coming out of preseason. But let's now take a look at what has been going on during the preseason. Most of them are Edmonton Oilers as far as who has been lighting it up in the preseason. So our preseason studs and our preseason duds are coming up next. Ty Ratty. I mean, shit, this is your first the top preseason scorer right now. Him and McDavid, I believe, are tied at 11 points in like 4 or 5 games or some shit. But he looks like the real deal. Obviously, you're going up against other teams who aren't, putting their best foot forward at the moment. But, I mean, he scored a hat trick the other night, given it was against Vancouver, I believe. But, shit, I went to go add Ratty, and it looked like you had done it 30 minutes before me. So, Ratty
felt pretty good.
Ratty is a seriously good ad right now. At least to start the year off, that right wing spot always gets cycled through. Who knows? They might even go Dallas and just play Draisaitl up there and stack the top line. Sticking in, let me get to the page. Sticking in Edmonton, you got Kyler Yamamoto, who's put up 9 points in 6 games, 6 goals, 3 assists. He's a +3 with 14 shots on goal. And McDavid, obviously, he's played 4 games, has 11 points on 11 shots.
What's the point of even talking about Connor McDavid in the preseason studs?
I don't know.
Fucking Connor McDavid, dude.
He's been doing good.
I'm not talking about Connor McDavid in the preseason studs.
The same thing.
If you people out there don't know about Connor McDavid,
don't play fantasy hockey.
I don't know. I guess you should go watch some podcast with fucking Matthew Berry talking about fantasy football. Good luck with that.
Another one that I thought was pretty interesting was Philip Forsberg, who has put up 9 points on 20 shots in 4 games. That's 5 shots a game, which to me is pretty awesome. I like those shots big time. Just some of the goalies that have been playing like either out of their mind or just shit in the bed. Cam Talbot has seen 123 shots, has seen 130 shots, and has let 7 of them in. He's got a goals allowed average of 1.92 right now and a save percentage of 943. So that's not something that's going to be realistic, but it's good to see Cam Talbot not sucking all the time.
As for another guy that I'm sorry, were you going to talk about Talbot more?
No, I was going to bring up Connor Hellebuyck. So
okay, go ahead.
No, you go.
Gibson.
Who?
I was going to bring up Gibson.
All right, yeah, bring it up.
Okay, so along with goalies, if we're going to stick with that topic, let's go with John Gibson for Anaheim. Last year, he had a great year, and don't forget about his .917 shorthanded save percentage. Now, is that going to go back down? He's going to come back down to earth probably a little bit this year. But right now in the preseason, he's playing out of his mind. And he's going to need to if the Dokes are going to live up to what they can be, especially with the injuries that they have.
Yeah, 2 goals allowed on 65 shots. He's looking pretty good. He's got a 968 right now.
You're right, dude.
It's fucking insane. Right behind him is Marc-Andre Fleury, who's let in 2 goals on 61 shots for 967 save percentage. And then, I mean, just keep going down. You got Antti Raanta has let 4 goals in on 74 shots. And the last guy I wanted to talk about was Freddie Anderson, has seen 108 shots and 7 goals against for a 210 goals allowed and a 931 save percentage. So just looking at some of these heavy workload guys in preseason, just making sure they're in like midseason shape, it looks like these guys are. Some of the goalies that need some help that I wanted to talk about is Hellebuyck, Mike Smith, Devin Dubnyk, Carey Price, Sergei Bobrovsky, and Philip Grubauer. For those of you that were trying to jump the gun and think that Grubauer was going to be the starter in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to say that half of those are a surprise, and half of those I am not surprised at all.
Yeah, I'd put Mike Smith, Carey Price, and Grubauer in that not surprised category.
Hey, we agree on that. That's good to see.
But I mean, look at this. You got Connor Hellebuyck, 103 saves, 11 goals allowed, a 367 and an 893 save percentage. Mike Smith, 92 saves, 14 goals allowed for a 3.53 and an 848. Devin Dubnyk, 89 shots, 89 saves, 10 goals, 3.45 and an 888. Those are Scott Darling numbers right there, man. Carey Price, 87
by
saves.
the way, I'm glad that on your preseason flops is the goalie that you're saying is going to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
but then again,
it's preseason. It's preseason.
As far as Braden Holtby showed last year, is you can have statistically like the worst year of your career and still win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
It's called elite scoring, people.
Yeah, as long as you have the offense to offset it. Carey Price, things are not going straight for him. 87 saves, 12 goals against, 3.77 and an 862. Bobrovsky, gotta scroll down to find you. 72 saves, 13 goals, 5.13 goal allowed, and an 819 save percentage. That's brutal. But these are the guys that know it's preseason. Don't get hurt. Don't pull your groin. Blah blah blah. But still, it's not awesome. Grubauer.
I think the biggest goalie out of this list that we have here, out of Hell's Bells, Mike Smith, Doobie, Price, and Bobrovsky, is Grubauer. He needs to truly show that he can be that guy. He doesn't have to be that guy in the background like he was in Washington. He needs to prove that he can win games without having Alex Ovechkin in front of you and TJ Oshie and Kuznetsov and Carlson. Now, they have a pretty good team in Colorado. It's not like it was a couple of years ago where it was a fucking joke and they were like hot garbage and everybody was just trying to stay away from them. But Grubauer needs to prove something.
Yeah, and 57 saves, 10 goals allowed is not a good look for him.
It's not doing it.
That's an 825 save percentage, man. It's not a good look.
That's if Scott Darling and Craig Anderson had a really bad child that ended up being a really bad goalie.
All right. So I guess that'll wrap it up for us on preseason. Let's get into next week's schedule, man. Like we can talk 2 different ways because ESPN has a 4-day, 5-day week, and then you got Yahoo that goes all the way till next Sunday. This next week coming up, a lot of teams played twice. Carolina, Chicago, the New York Rangers, Toronto Maple Leafs. Those are the only teams that play 3 times next week. A few teams that are only playing once is the Oilers, the Panthers, the Devils, and the Lightning. So You're looking at 4 different teams there that only play once next week. And then the week following, if you're in a Yahoo, so you're going to like double up on these teams. The Ducks play 4 times and the Sharks play 4 times. And Vegas plays 4 times. So those are 3 teams that you're looking at to maximize your most amount of games played, with Arizona only playing 2, Chicago only playing 2, Dallas, Edmonton, Florida, Minnesota, Montreal, the Devils, the Islanders, the Rangers, the Penguins, the Lightning. So the Lightning only play 3 games in the first 2 weeks. Wow.
That's hurtful. It's a good thing that you have all those Toronto Maple Leafs.
How many times do they play?
Well, they play 3 times in this first 4 days, so that's looking pretty good for them.
Oh yeah, 6 times in the first 2 weeks. I can dig it, but
I bet you can.
Yeah, so obviously the Lightning is somebody. I'm not going to tell you to stay away from Kucherov or Hedman or anything, but if you're looking at guys like Yanni Gourde, just to stream for the first few months, see how he's going to do. Keep in mind that in the first 3 weeks, they're only playing 3 games, and that is disappointing.
These are facts.
Maybe I'll try and go for Kucherov come week 3. Yeah, man, I'm ready to close this out.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that all sounded pretty good. It was. I think that was a super fluid episode, actually.
And maybe we'll come back next week and talk about this the second week twice.
Yeah, it's all good.
So if you're looking at teams like that, I don't know. That's it. So when it comes down to streamers, guys, just pay attention to the matchups. These first couple weeks, everybody's feeling out their positions. It seems like the Stars kind of they start slow, and then they work their way pretty hard. I'll cut that out. I don't even know what the fuck I'm trying to say. That didn't sound great. I'm trying to segue myself to being ready to leave. So, all right, guys, that's what we got for this one for episode 39. Just trying to get in the hang of things. Had a lot of drafts this past week, so we've been pretty busy. We got our 5-hole fantasy hockey, the listener league tomorrow for Yahoo. We already drafted our ESPN 5-hole league. Just drafted tonight, just before throwing this episode up. I like pretty much every single one of my teams so far, so I'm pretty happy with my drafts going into next year. I'm hoping you guys are too. But yeah, as we are approaching 1 a.m. in the morning on October 2nd, I think it's time for me and Zach to say goodbye.
Yeah, I've seen a lot. I will say I've seen a lot of the same guys that you've been targeting in a lot of your teams. I will say this, though, folks out there. One thing that TJ and I love doing, and we will always try our best to help you guys out. If you ever feel like you want to send us trade proposals that you have gotten in your league to see what we think, and maybe a rebuttal, we're more than welcome. I mean, I know that I always talk to people. I asked TJ about a trade that was proposed to me today, which was Patrick Kane and Jonathan Quick for Evgeny Malkin and Ben Bishop. Personally, I'm scared of Ben Bishop. I really want Evgeny Malkin, considering the fact that I have Phil Kessel. So I want to pair those two in a big way. But damn, am I afraid of Ben Bishop? So I mean, hey, if you guys even want to tell me, hey, what do you think about that trade that I was proposed? I'm leaning towards yes, but honestly, I have my trepidations. So Send us your trades. Tell me what you think about the one that was proposed to me.
Yeah, we'll always comment on some trade. We'll always give you our opinion on trades. We'll always give you our opinion on streamers, stuff like that. You can hit us up at FHF Hockey on Twitter. From wherever you are listening from right now, if there's an option, please do leave a review if you're digging it. And if not, just download iTunes or something and leave us 5 stars. We love it. But that being said, it is 12:58, and it is definitely time to go to bed. Yeah, guys, we'll see you next week for episode 40 and the first week of the NHL season. We love you.
Ooh, the big 4-0. Love you
Big 4-0.
guys.
All right.